Hi, this is Kira from Creative Photography Classes or Shooting Magic with Kira and Cheryl. Today, I'm going to show you a lot of tips and tricks that I do when composing Photoshop to create my magic fantasy images. And trust me, they're not overly complicated. I'm a technically challenged person, so if I can do it, you can do it too. In this tutorial, you will be learning how to create a composite with light backgrounds that has grass, and this grass is actually helping to simplify your composing work. Uh, Now, in another tutorial, we will be showing you how to create a realistic composite if you don't have grass to cover the bottom of the person or your subject. That means you will need to learn the art of creating shadows. As you can see in today's tutorial, we will be creating something like this image. Okay, this is I'm using the background which I called Magic Arch. So you can see the grass is here to cover the bottom of the girl. Okay, or maybe an image like that. Same thing. Okay, so the grass is here to help hiding the bottom of the subject. Okay, or image like this. Same deal. Okay, so this is the image we'll be creating, and this is the background, the magic arch that we will be using today. You can create composites with any backgrounds you want. You can take images yourself of the backgrounds and embellishments such as birds and flowers and butterflies, so anything, spiders if you want to, or animals, or you can get them from stock libraries. You just need to make sure that the angle that you are taking your photos from and the field of view is the same for your backgrounds and for your subjects, so they look realistic. Also, you need to make sure that the light is coming from the same direction. This is if you want to keep it simple. Of course, you can add or even change the direction of the light in your post-production, and I will be showing you how to do it in our tutorials. If you decide to get the background that I am using for this demonstration, you're welcome to purchase it. It will have all the layers for you that you will need and all the possible embellishments. It will give you hundreds of different combinations to create art pieces for years to come. I will also include the image of the girl I will be showing you today, the one like this one. Okay, the image that basically I took in the studio. You can see it has all of the curtains and walls and God knows what. Right, so this is the image you will have to play with if you decide to work on your selections as well. And this is another image I will be using for this tutorial. I already did select the girl out of the background. I did very rough job. You can see it's here, but that will be enough to create the image. And you will get this image as well if you don't want to spend time on selecting the girl out of the background. This is if you want to get this particular background I'm talking about. Now you will get this girl so you can try and practice and create the same results. I will be giving you the link to the background and the images of the girl at the end of this tutorial. But as I said before, you don't need to use this particular background. You can use any background you want to create amazing results. Search around, use stock libraries. Sometimes you can get amazing things for free as well. Okay. Okay, so this is the background we're going to use today. Let me run through a few layers to show you what you can do with this background. As you can see, you've got fork, you've got different pigeons, you've got bird, you've got butterflies. It's already settings pre-selected for you if you want to use it like that, or you can you can pick and choose which ones would you like. Now, when you in the layers, okay, so you click on layers and you see here you have a lot of layers. This is where you need to be just a little bit careful and make sure that whatever you want to appear at the top goes at the top. Like, for example, you have different fogs. You need to make sure that the fogs are at the top. So when you actually insert the person in the background, it is below the foggy layers. Okay, the birds and butterflies, again, it doesn't probably matter because the butterflies and the birds will be probably flying around the person, so it doesn't matter where they are. It just normally the fog is the thing that you can get confused with. Just make sure that whatever you want at the top is going to the top of the layers. Now, what you can have fog, right? If you want to, you can have it like fog for the top, right? You can see that fog for the foreground and fog for middle ground, and that's absolutely different image, as you can see, without the fog, so you don't need to use the fog. Also, you have the background now in beautiful, lovely summery colors. I use sometimes. See here, there is two layers here, hue saturation for arch 1 and 2, and I sometimes create, say, colder, warmer, but much cooler, more fantasy background. Or if I want to go full color, again, that's a little bit colder and greener grass, that little bit more autumny. Okay, you can change it again. Okay, so today we're going to use probably full color just because of the dress of the girl. She's got bright and gold and, you know, purple colors. Okay, now you have different butterflies here. So already settings are there for you: butterfly small, butterfly large, butterfly medium. So just if you're watching the picture here, so if I go butterfly small and you can disable it, it disappeared. Now if you open it, it's a group here. So if you open the folder butterfly small, you can have different saturations, color and saturations here under that, right? And you can have it 1 and 2. Just watch this butterfly, so you can have it stronger. Okay, and here disable it, enable it. Okay, so brighter butterfly. Okay, so that's small butterfly. Now just watch where you place it as well in the picture. It will appear different color. If you want to move it, make sure this layer is selected, grab the move tool, and you can place it in different spots, right? And again, you can make it brighter or not. Here's butterfly large. This butterfly, again, you can open the folder if you want to increase saturation. This is butterfly medium. Again, same thing. Okay, you can make it brighter, see, much more colorful, or a little bit more subtle. Okay, you also will have for today, probably I won't use it, so let me just disable it. So okay, you see this eye picture of the eye. So if you click on it, okay, you disable or enable this particular layers. Okay, let me close the folder. Okay, so I'm disabling. You have the bird here, right? You have different. Let's try the pigeons first. So you have 3 individual pigeons. Let me show you them. Okay, so here, if I disable it, all the pigeons disappeared. So same thing, you can have fantasy pigeon. This is the one, right? You have pigeon that looks like fan and pigeon pink, this one. So you can operate them separately or together as a group. So if separately, make sure you select the layer you want to move. So this is your fantasy picture. Grab the move tool and you place it where you want to. Okay, again, make sure where it is in the arch, because of the particular glow of light, it might not look right, you know, at some spots. Just pick the composition that you like. Okay, pigeon fan. Okay, you can move it around and place it where you want to. Now I won't have it today, I don't need it to show you. That's a pink pigeon. Again, you can move it around. And I disabled it. Okay, now we have group here, two small white pigeons. This is this group. So if I click on it, okay, I can again move them around. They're already in with pre-selected settings. If you want to change the settings, you can see opacity here, you can change it. You can see they became brighter. Right, now I will leave it for you, but you can change it in the template to 100 opacity or smaller, and you can change the blending mode again for different effects. Here I like the way they are. Again, I will disable them now, okay, because I want to show you how I do it all manually, and then if you want to get this background, you can get all of it. So now I disable, so they disappeared. Now we have also stars here, so watch these bits. You see magic stars. Again, you can go without stars, right? You don't have to have stars all the time. There are small little stars already for you in the background. And this is the bird, and why I'm showing you the last, because in the bird folder you can see it says bird and dark skies. Okay, so just to quickly show you what you can do, let's say we bring back, just for the effect, bring back the butterflies. Sorry, I forgot to mention there is also pink butterflies here. Okay, pink butterflies. Again, you can change the color of them by, you know, clicking on different layers in the folder. Okay, I won't use pink butterflies now, but again, for the different picture you might want to have them. Let me just close them for now. Okay, but just to show you, for example, a night shot. If you want to create night image, let's just do something like that. And then in this, I'll close this folder. In the folder which is bird and dark skies, here, okay, first of all you have two layers for the bird. One is for the bird. Okay, let me just, sorry, enlarge it so you can see. This is the bird we're talking about. So this is for the bird, and this is for the bird's shadow, because it looks like it's flying. So if I disable bird shadow, you can see the bird just appears a little bit more sharper. Okay, but I like that sort of feel with a little bit of shadow, so it looks like the bird is flying. Now, under this bird, so first of all, let me just, sorry, zoom out. Under this bird you have dark sky with no stars and dark sky, so with the stars. Okay, this is the dark sky, so I've just selected the dark sky. Now I can change opacity, and depending where it is, you see this dark sky is in particular folder under the bird, because I want the bird to appear at the top, on the top of the dark sky layer. But if you want to change anything, you will move that dark sky at the top, remember that? Okay, so if you want to move and see how it looks, in this case all of the birds will become darker. Then you have dark sky here, which is no additional stars. Sorry, this one. Okay, same deal here, so you can have this one and change opacity. And that was another dark sky with the stars. Okay, so it has additional stars. Okay, and depending where you place it in the image, you see the image looks amazing, and it's like a dark at the night. Now you can of course put the birds opacity to smaller opacity, so they're not as bright. It all depends on your imagination. And look here, if I suddenly bring the fog back, how gorgeous it looks with a night image. All right, so today I'm not going to use that, but this is there for you to experiment, and I will create another free tutorial how to use this particular template. Okay, so let me now delete all of this, sorry, not delete, disable the fog, the dark sky. I will not need the bird right now. Okay, let me close it. I won't need these pigeons to work, and I want it in full color. Okay, let's start composing our image. As you can see, I deleted all the disabled all the embellishments. Now what I need to make sure that I'm selected the layer somewhere here, because if I select the layer here, remember what I said, and then I'll drop the image will go somewhere on the top of the fork, which I don't want to, because in case I will need to use fork, I need it at the top of the layer ladder. But it's not a biggie. What you can then do, you can always move the layers. Let me show you actually how. So let's grab the image that I'm going to use. This is the girl pre-selected out of the background. Now I took just I took very light image because I knew I needed it light, so it's easier to select out. Normally the best advice I would give you, just for something like that, shoot on a very light background, so it's easier to deselect the person or the green background. But in this case, as you saw, it was quite a messy background, but light. So I pre-selected it. I've used the mirror I found somewhere on garage sale, and this is a Christmas decoration that I just placed around the mirror. It gives a little bit of light already. Okay, so what I need to do, I just hold Alt. I'm working on PC. Okay, and from the layer I'll just grab the girl and drop it on the picture I'm working with. Now there are millions of things you can do. You can select or copy, and then you can paste it in your image. For me, it's just easier to hold Alt and from the layer of the girl just drop it back. Okay, and now I can close this one, so our software operates better. Now let me show you what happened. Well, first of all, I will resize the girl the way I want to. So Control T on PC and holding Shift, so I don't change ratio. I'm resizing the image to the size I'm comfortable with. Now if you decide to go with this template, it will be very big, so just make sure that the subject you're shooting are also quite large, otherwise you will need to change the size, or you will need to drop the size of the arch to suit your subject. Okay, so now I can grab the move tool. Now girl is at the top, you see girl here at the top layer, and I will move it where I want it. Probably want it little smaller, so Control T again and holding Shift, so the ratio of the image does not change. Okay, and probably somewhere here I want the mirror to look like it's sort of leaning against this arch, and of course it doesn't look good yet. Now if you can notice, she is much brighter than the whole background, so I will need either to decrease saturation for the girl or make it very different subtle colors, or if you remember, I can just make my background go here and make it much brighter, which is more suitable with what she's wearing, for the feel I'm going right now. Okay, now if I suddenly want to, I want to use the fork, look what happens. So the girl is here, and fork middle ground is sitting at the top, and she's on the top of the fork, and that's not what you want. So what you need to do, you need to move that layer. If suddenly right? You pasted it and it's at the top here. You move it under, okay, somewhere here. In this case now you can see, so if I want to use the fork, okay, so you can see it's sitting at the top of the girl. Of course it will be covering your image, so it should be left at the top. Okay, so let me again disable all of that, and let's call this layer girl so we know what we're doing. Okay, girl. Okay, so as it is now, right, this image does not look very realistic, but I wouldn't be worried. Now I've placed the girl in the image, and I'll show you the first trick. Okay, what I want to do, I want to show you how to use blending modes. So what I would do for this image, I would grab the blending mode and change it to, okay, let's change it to, normally I check which mode I like, hard light. See, it looks wrong, but let me show you the edges look much better right now. Let me show you back. So if I go instead of hard light to normal, right, she looks more cut out, right? But if I go to hard light, right, all of the edges and bits and pieces look a little bit more realistic, but it's too harsh. The dress looks like it's burned, right? So what I can do now, I will go right click on the girl layer, duplicate layer. So I want to duplicate the girl, right? Okay, so I'll duplicate layer, and now I change the mode to normal. Again, you can't see what's happening now. So what I need to do, right, I need now in this normal mode, I need to choose the mask. See, so instead of on the girl, it needs to be on the mask. So select the mask of that second layer, right? I want to choose the black brush first on 100 opacity. Okay, bigger brush, you know, you can use brackets right and left, make it bigger and smaller. Right, first I delete all of this normal mode first. Okay, so I am back to the mode looking to this one basically. So I'm looking at the hard light, right? But now I am at the back one, at the top one, which is having normal blending mode. And make sure you choose the mask here, okay? And now with the white brush, I will want to introduce some of the normal mode on the smaller brush. Back. Making sure I don't touch the edges. And then it will look much more realistic. Now, a little bit bigger opacity. So especially see the skin, because it's still showing the previous mode, which was hard light. Okay, here's a shoe, just a bit of the shoe. Especially I'm worried about the skin, right? So I don't want the skin to look weird. Same here. Here it actually doesn't matter. You can even leave it like that, or just introduce a little bit of normal mode back. Especially where you can see the background is looking weird. And if I want a little bit on the smaller opacity, I will bring back into the roses her shoe. Doesn't really matter, but like if you want to, you can bring it back. But I'm leaving the edges alone, and it looks already much more realistic than how it looked at the beginning. Okay, so now, okay, so if you look what I did, so if I disable this top layer which has normal mode, okay, the image looks here too dark, right? But if I disable this layer, you can see that I brought back some of the probably should bring more here. So again, making sure I'm on the mask here with the white brush, a little bit more in her face, because the middle of the face I want to look as natural as possible. So two modes together, okay, and she looks much more realistic. Now, the second trick we want to do is we want to now put the grass and cover the bottom. Remember I was talking about using the grass. Grass is a great tool. Grass, flowers will save you bacon. So what we need to do, we want to, by the way, let me just combine these two. So I selected both, right, and group from layers. I just call it girl. We don't need one. We don't need two layers. We want one layer for the girl. Okay. Now, what we want to do, I want to introduce mask again, and I want to bring the parts of this layer. Okay, so let me show you how I do it. Okay, on the black brush. Now, opacity is up to you. You can decrease the flow, okay, to make it slow and little movements. So you can see what I'm doing. I used, you need to use the mask, right, on the girl. If you did it first time before double layer, the mask was already there. So you need to have the mask, okay, so add the mask if needs to be. So I added the mask, then chose the mask, and then with the black brush, right, I am bringing back the bottom layer. All of this doesn't matter, remember, because it's all butterflies and stars. They're all over the place. They're not here. Otherwise, of course, the girl needed to be right above the background. So I'm basically working on bringing parts of this background, right, back. Because if you don't have grass, what you will be needing to do, right, you will be creating shadows. Sorry, I can leave the flower if I want to. So if I made a mistake, back on the white, okay, back on the black to bring some grass over. And it's really helping to create realistic image. Okay, so if you don't like it how it looks here, or if you don't want to cover that much of the dress, I can say I can have a look if I like it. Now I don't like it like that. I'll bring back the girl just a little bit more here. Okay, so have a look. See, now it's looking like she's sitting in the grass. Okay, so every time, of course, you will do different, little bit maybe more here. Okay. And now let me show the major tip you will learn probably from today, and it will help your image to not look like it's cut out from the background to create realistic composite. Okay, what I want to do, I want to help create light that will then help us show in this image that the girl belongs to this environment. Now for this light to work properly, first I want to place it behind the girl. First of all, we can see light is behind, and I want that light to touch the girl, because for now, as you can see, there is no light on her back. How do we create that? Now, making sure that the girl is at the top, we will put new layer where we will create this light under the layer of the girl. So under. Okay, so it doesn't matter where you click here, but in this case, you see my cursor is here. I'm going layer, new layer. Let's call it light behind the girl. Okay, now I want to make sure I am choosing the white foreground. Here is black. Okay, now you can use black for your dark images, but when you need the light images, okay, white. Now, and so you can see for now, I will push opacity to 100 and flow to 100. Okay, don't freak out when you see the first result. Of course, we will decrease it, and I'll show you how. So with a big brush, so make sure it's not a small brush. Now look, you can actually do it with a smaller brush if you want just a little bit of light behind here, but for me, I don't have time to do it like that, so I go with a bigger brush. So white, big, soft brush, and I go where I want the light to sort of, I'll correct it later. Okay, so you can see it's not really, it's a little bit influencing the girl, but not really, and I'll bring it all back. Okay, and I can change opacity here. Okay, so what I need to do now, of course it looks a little bit weird now, so bear with me. I want to add mask to this light, right, to this layer, add mask. Okay, and on the black brush, with much smaller brush, I want to erase this effect from the girl, from her front, of course. Smaller brush. It's up to you, don't have to erase it. You can maybe leave it, you know, somewhere to have that sort of halo effect. But I want to make sure that all the gold here is preserved. Sorry, black brush, I'm deleting this effect from. Doesn't matter if I make mistake, I can go to and fro. I for sure don't want this because that's also at the front, so I want to delete it off the arch because the light was coming, you know, from there somewhere, so it's probably touching our mirror, touching our girl, touching arches. It can spill, of course, so if I want to add again with the white brush, sorry, not with if I want to add a little bit more, instead of mask, I need to be on the layer, so switch back to the layer. If I want it somewhere here, back to the mask if I want to go to and fro and delete effect. Okay, and now, right, I can decrease, increase, okay, delete a little bit more on the smaller opacity. Okay, and watch what happens now. Instead of normal mode, so I'm still on the layer light behind the girl, just watch what will happen. I will pick overlay. You see what happened? So let's delete a little bit more light here and introduced a little bit more light again behind the girl. Sorry, with the black. Okay, and now if you're watching the girl, so watch that. I will disable. And as I said, you can have as little or as much, but it looks much better, don't you think? So again, back on the mask, I don't think I need as much here. I want to delete some of the light, so you can see it probably better. So it's just behind the girl. So, okay, so you can see it's right behind her, and you can change the mode now. You can increase it. Right, you can change the mode and see. Sometimes I like to have soft light. You can see it's much softer. Again, before, after, and it looks very realistic. Sometimes I try with a hard light. Okay, little bit stronger effect. Again, I can have combination of both. If you want to have little bit of soft light, little bit of even normals, you know, sometimes I like to have normal mode as well. But if I want a combination, I will then go right click, duplicate the layer, and then change different mode for different layer. But I think I like the soft mode the most. Now before and after, before and after. You see, so the important bit girl is above the light, and that created this beautiful light behind her, so it looks like she belongs there. Another trick that you can do instead of the one that I showed you, or maybe on the top of the one that I show, is using gradient. Okay, this is for the same thing for the light. So make sure we have here white light at the background. See white here. Okay, and then go here, click, and pick gradient, the second at the top. Okay, ignore that for now, it looks weird. Now make sure that it's also not at the top of the girl. I forgot to mention under the girl. Okay, now in style of that gradient fill, choose reflected. Okay, click OK. Now you have gradient tool behind the girl, gradient fill, sorry, gradient layer. Just to give you the demonstration, if the girl was under, let me just move it under. See, it would look wrong and it will be too much for you to mask it. Okay, so let's go back, put girl at the top. So gradient fill is behind the girl, right? Opacity, make it less. Sorry, gradient fill. Make sure you select the layer you're working on. Okay, so gradient fill, opacity less. Right. I would also want the light to be behind the arch, of course. In this case, what I need to do, make sure I choose mask, and with the black brush, so black brush, opacity 50, yeah, that's okay. Just want to bring back the arch, because for me the light would be, you know, back from there, right? So it will be behind the arch. Make sure that it's not spilling on the girl. Again, as soon as you change blending mode, it won't be as noticeable. You will see that in a second. Okay, so we have it all now behind. All the important bits come forward, and now let's change the mode to, let's say, soft light. Gorgeous. Let me show you. So before and after. You can see how the light is basically coming from everywhere from the background. You can again play with the opacity, make it stronger, a little bit less. Okay, delete, so mask it from some of the areas if you don't want to. Okay, move it to where you want to in the image. Same thing you will do if you want it with the black or any color gradient fill. In this case, the white suit, but maybe you wanted, for example, sun rays. In this case, you would pick the color which is a little bit like goldy color. Okay, but that's another beautiful beautiful gradient fill that will help you with the lighting of the image. Hard light, you see, it's a little bit too harsh. again, I can always drop it like that, or overlay. So just play with different different blending modes to see what suits. I think soft white for me was the best. Okay. But I would probably take it away from more of the areas. I don't need them as much because I already used the previous tool. Okay, let's do it like that. Okay, beautiful. Let's move on. Next tip, right? That's actually a very big one for you to remember. Sometimes, actually almost all the time, you have very different colors of the subject, okay, and the background. So to bring it all together, to make it like all as a uniform, right, and map it, it's an amazing tool which is gradient map. Okay, you can use it sparingly or as creatively as you want, and I'll show you how. Make sure that again the important layers at the top are chosen, because for example, if you're somewhere resting below the girl, the gradient map layer won't be applied to actual girl. It will be applying to all of the layers below it. So okay, we'll make sure that what's important is here chosen. Then you go again to the to this little button, okay, and pick gradient map. Okay, now ignore what's happening here. Okay, so you go here, this is your gradient map, click on it and you pick the gradient map you want. Right, let me show you here. So this is very standard. I often do it when I don't want to, you know, do anything special. I don't want to waste my time. I'll just pick the one which is in this case I don't know how you will put settings in your computer, but here is a third one, black and white. I can OK it. Okay, of course this is too much. It made it all black and white, and now I will play with opacity first. So you can see that's 0, that's 100. So I'll pick just a little bit here, and then I can change the mode. And so let's say I pick more, it will be a little bit more desaturated, as you can see. You don't need to do it, just to have it all as the image belongs, right? It's enough to have it just a little bit. So and then pick the mode you want. You can have overlay, it's very strong, right? You might not want to. You can have soft. Now if I increase opacity, you can have multiply if you want to darken your image. For example, if your image you feel is too light, okay, you can use it as a screen, and I definitely wouldn't do it here for this image. I don't like it, but you can if you want to lighten your image. So you would use screen mode, or again overlay soft light. I think for me is now I really like it. So and I will pick just a little bit because I don't need a lot. Okay, the image was already sort of fitting, the subject was fitting the background with the colors. But you will definitely do if, for example, remember, if the background would be not as colorful, you know, she would be then sticking out, okay, then in the gradient map I will definitely bring it more, and you can see now it feels like it belongs. Now let me bring the background back. You can use a different gradient map to create particular beautiful effects. So let me show how it looks. Let's put back to normal mode, and instead of black and white, for example, you can pick any of those. You see, it's just gorgeous color variations that it gives you, that you can just take a little bit out. If I love this one, creates gorgeous effects. Okay, but let's say you create it yourself. So here is your shadows, and here is your highlights. So let's pick the color from shadows. So click on here and change the color. Let's say I would pick something from blue somewhere. Doesn't really matter because I will just show you. Okay, OK it. So this is how I picked for my shadows, and it will be blue. Now I want to pick the light for my highlights. Okay, so here I picked the light for my highlights, which is golden yellow, and you can see it did the color cast, which I absolutely love. It's blue for shadows and yellow creates that beautiful antique looking images, isn't it? So now, sorry, I forgot to okay it. Okay, so I picked that, and you can see now what I can do. I can straight away go and change the mode to overlay. Okay, and then you don't see that color as much, or I can leave it on normal because it gives me this beautiful color, but the image looks a little bit flatter, right? So what I can do then, I can duplicate that layer with the gradient map, duplicate it, right? And then on that second layer I can change the mode to hard light, or like that, or overlay, same thing. Okay, and maybe drop opacity for a little bit of, you know, pushing the color out if I want to create that particular coloring. Now if I feel, oh, you know what, it's too much, I can come back to this first layer and drop the opacity. But you can see how it gives this sort of like it's now uniform. It belongs, the image belongs together. Probably let's come back to the black and white, right? Because for the demonstration I think we will just stick with the black and white gradient. Okay, and delete that layer, we don't want that, and the first layer just leave it with the overlay. Okay, cool. Okay, now next step, let me show you how I introduced different embellishments like flowers, butterflies, birds, okay, and make them look either realistic or a little bit magical. Okay, let's say I have the pigeons. Okay, so I have pigeons like that. You can photograph them yourself, you know, or as I said, you can get them together with this template already. Pigeons and butterflies, everything is there for you, but you basically can photograph them yourself and have them either on transparent, black or white background, and different effects will apply. So just simple background here. So let me just bring these pigeons in again. Remember, Alt, click on the layer, drag, drop. Okay, here are pigeons. Of course it looks ridiculous. Let me delete them here, I don't need them anymore. Looks ridiculous, but they have black background or have light background. In this case I will use screen mode. Okay, here we go. Okay, beautiful, and then I can move them anywhere I want now. And screen mode deleted basically all the black behind them, but as you can see they look very much like a fantasy pigeons, right, which suit this image. But let's say you don't want them to look that transparent. Okay, another trick to show you. So you want them to look a little bit more realistic, but if I was to choose the normal mode like that, of course all of the black background will come into the place and you will need to do a lot of deleting, a lot of work. You don't want to do it, so let's leave it on screen mode. Okay, so remember what I was doing before, duplicate. So right click on the layer, duplicate layer. Okay, okay, and ignore what's happening now. Pick now normal mode. That's fine. As I said, ignore what's happening now. So normal mode. Now introduce the mask. Add mask. Okay, and then Control I to invert it back. Control I. And now with the white brush, let me just enlarge it to show you. White brush, maybe let's say opacity 40, 50. Okay, smaller brush. Introduce back just a little bit of the normal blending mode where you want to. I wouldn't do it all over the pigeon. I would just where it is for you important for the pigeon to look a little bit more realistic if you want to. So it takes away this transparency. So if you want to have just a little bit of more realistic looking pigeon. Yeah, one black eye and red shoes. Okay, so you can see now, like if I was to delete the layer, so let's just disable that top layer which has realistic normal blending mode. See, they look transparent, very fantasy like, but with this one combination of two, they look quite beautiful. Now let me just combine them together and call them, so group from layers, so you don't get confused, and let's call them two pigeons. Pigeons, so we know what we're doing. Now it still looks a little bit like they cut out, right? Now remember another trick I was doing for them to look realistic. So under the pigeons, right, I want to introduce, so which layer is that? Sorry. Under the pigeons, I want to introduce new layer with the light and put it behind the pigeons. Right, so layer, new, okay, and on white with big fluffy brush, so soft brush, okay, soft big brush. I'm putting just a little bit of glow behind the pigeons. Let me just now enlarge and show you what's happening here. Okay, and now I can change that glow, so leave it as normal mode or overlay, right? Depends what you want. Again, as I said, you can go through a few modes and check what suits you. Now you see here, and it like leaves a little bit glow, and they just belong, they feel like they belong more. So let me just show you without. See, that's without, pigeons without, that's with. Okay, gives such a huge difference. This little bit of light just behind them gives the glow. Let's now bring the bird. Okay, I have the bird like that. In this case I have a I just selected the bird out of the background, and I've got just empty background here. It's PNG file. So bring the bird in. You can see, oh, it's a huge bird. Control T to resize it. Hold Shift, so the ratio is the way you want to, and then with the move tool place it where you want to. Okay, so you can again leave the bird the way it is. You can change the mode, so on overlay it becomes transparent, magical, right? You can have hard light, again a little bit different. You can have it normal, you can see like that. Now, or you can use combination if you want just a little bit of striking effect. Let's say that's the way it came, or normal, right? And I want duplicate layer, so duplicate group in this case, it's the same thing, and I want to pick different blending mode. See, and the two of them, and then maybe not 100%, 50% here. Okay, and two of them I really like, or maybe I want screen mode. Okay, the bird becomes light. I actually like this one. Okay, gorgeous. So I can duplicate it again and introduce a little bit of overlay if I want a little bit brighter saturated colors. Now same trick again under the bird, right? I want to have a little bit of light, so make sure that whatever I do is under the bird that I just introduced. Layer, new layer, okay it. I'm not renaming layers because it's just a demonstration. I want to do it quicker for you. And I put a little bit of white light now for you to see. I put it on 100 opacity so you can see it around the bird, right? Ignore the way it looks, drop the opacity now to your liking. Okay, and maybe change the mode to overlay, or didn't change much, or hard light. Okay, depends where you place the bird. I think drop the opacity to where you want it to be. Okay, and depending where you put the bird, oopsie daisy. So you see that I'm moving the light now. So if I combine that and the bird and move them together. Okay, let's now create the magic light. By the way, I did delete the bird and I put butterflies for you here just to show a little bit more of the light effects that we can create. The bird was just too much. Pigeons and the bird, just way too much. Okay, so what we can do, for example, we want a little bit of glow, right, from the mirror. That would be nice, don't you think? You already know how to create light behind, so make sure that this is our image, girl in the mirror. Make sure the light, if you want first glow from behind, so the layer is behind the girl, right? So this is our girl, right? So we want the layer behind the girl. Okay, so even just to be safe, somewhere here, layer, new layer. Okay, and let's call it glow. Glow from the mirror. Right? Okay, now you can create glow on couple of modes. You can have it on screen mode, okay, or on color dodge. Screen mode is not as intense as color dodge. So let's create screen on screen mode first, and you need to pick probably some, well, let's pick some gold color and see how that will work. Okay, sometimes it's better darker. Okay, but you need to experiment and see what suit. Let's just pick this color and see. Big brush, big soft brush. Oh, lovely. You can even create the little bit of glow if you want from her dress. It's just too much. And then drop the opacity. I wouldn't want it on the dress, but I like the glow from the mirror. So on screen mode, I think it's beautiful, just a little less, and definitely don't want on the dress. So how do I get rid of it? Remember, introduce the mask, add mask, okay, and with the black brush, I just don't want that particular glow on her. But I really like the glow behind the mirror. So if I want to a little stronger to show you, okay, gorgeous. Okay, now let's create different glow. If it was magic butterflies or it was magic lights on the girl, let's just create another glow. This time I will be doing it on the top of the girl, so it doesn't matter where you put it. You can put it well, as high. Still, I would put it under the fork in case you would want to use the fork at the end. Okay, so somewhere here. New layer. Let's create new layer, and we call it oops, cancel, and we call it glow on screen mode, right? Oops, can't type. Screen glow on screen mode. Okay, and pick the same color, but this time we want just a little touches. So much smaller brush. Sorry, so I forgot screen mode. Okay, so if you want just a mirror to sparkle a little bit more, you know what? Let's go to the burn one. Alright, so color dodge. Color dodge. You see, much brighter straight away. Okay, to show you, and decrease opacity a bit. So you want, for example, your mirror to glow somewhere. Maybe you want a couple of sparkles on the girl here. Okay, maybe you want a little bit on the lips. Probably I would change the color there, so because we don't want the golden lips. So let's come back with this one and pick maybe red. Let's see how the red, see, creates a little glow. If you want to, it's not necessary. If you have anything that you want to put little glows, like for example this color of the dress, right? Maybe a little brighter. Let's see how that works. So we're still on the same glow. Sorry, it just needs to say color dodge, not screen mode. With a bigger brush, and you see I can create the glow of the dress. Isn't it just gorgeous? See, like that. It's too much again, so remember mask, because I like it on the mirror, but for example it's too much for the girl. Mask, right? So on the mask with the black brush, drop opacity, I'll take away some of this glow. Okay, but then I might want to have blue, so go back on the layer if I want to continue on the same layer, or if it's safer for you, just create yet another layer. But I can just continue, change color to, let's say, green for the butterflies, and see how that will be looking. Okay, so smaller brush again. See, that's probably not enough glow, so, but you can see it's changing. So if I was to change opacity, you would see the butterfly start to glow. So if I make it brighter color, the glow will be brighter. And you can do it on flowers. Sorry, that's why. Let's do it on. Oop. Okay, so that's how we do the little glows like that. Okay, glow of light. You can put the white one on the birds. Okay, in this case you would go white, sorry, change to white. So the bird can have a little bit more glow. Okay, and let me show yet another one. So from our magic light overlay, if you want not to bother with creating glow yourself, you can drop a couple of glows in. So this is our textures and overlays, magic light overlay, or you can create your own. Okay, so drop this, let's say blue, right? Let's go blue. That's too big. Let's resize it. Up. Resize it. Bring it back into the picture. Okay, black background, which means screen mode. Right, and now we have a little dot here with a beautiful color that we can move and drop, let's say, on our blue butterflies, like that. You can see that. So make it small again, even for smaller dots. It's a little bit of work and time, but it's so worth it to create magic. Okay, now if you don't want to drop yet another one, remember, just duplicate, layer, okay, to intensify the color, or you can just then duplicate it, grab it, and drop it somewhere else. Okay, like that. Beautiful. So you can drop these little bits of light on all of the butterflies, on the little bit of dress, changing colors all the time if you want to. Okay, so let's say that was a blue. Let's drop the red one. Same thing. Drop red. Okay, minimize it because I need to resize the light. Lights are big. Now we have red. Okay, screen mode up, and we have a ball of beautiful red light. Sometimes you can even drop it in the eyes, like if it was, of course, not red, but white or blue to create sparkle if you need some fantasy magical light in the person's eyes. Okay, there is a red, and you can see, you can put it in the flowers, on her mouth. Again, in the butterfly, you can change the color of butterfly like that. You can create different sparkles of lights on the arch. Okay, and you do quite a few, or as many as you like. And this is how we create the magic lights. Okay, so just one more little thing. Sometimes, to make it even more uniform, I play with the unsharp mask to push, create a little bit more three-dimensional details in the foreground, okay, and in the background, because then it looks like they belong even more. So what I would do here, I would flatten the image now. And it will be smaller because it was so big that software couldn't really record well. Okay, so image is now flattened. Let me delete a couple of more images here so they don't confuse us. So we have okay, and layer, duplicate layer, and I will go filter, sharpen, unsharp mask, and I will bring the radius, okay, to quite big numbers. Right? Of course, you watch your image to see when you need in detail where you're comfortable with, and threshold as well to soften that feel. Okay, something like that maybe. Click OK. Add mask. Control I to invert it back, and now with white brush introduce the details. White soft brush where I want them, maybe opacity a little low. So see here, maybe on the arches. So it makes it a little bit more three-dimensional, and after I combine background and the subject, again it looks like they belong together. Okay, or there is much easier tool. So if you don't want this one, there's much easier tool you can use if you want in our actions, and you have our actions, which is let me just get to that. Here, specialized treatment actions, deep detail extraction. Alright, so if you run this action and continue, and then brush as much or as little as you want to over with the white brush for extracting more details. In this case, your background, foreground, and part, make sure in the subject, so they look like this picture was taken as one picture instead of the composite. Okay, so, and it creates also this painterly effect, and then you can drop opacity. Okay, so under the image you will see the link if you're interested in getting this template, which is Magic Arch template, then you can get yourself template. Otherwise, you use any background you want. I hope you enjoy watching this tutorial. Thank you very much. Okay, and see you in the next tutorial. That was Kira from Creative Photography Classes. Bye bye.